invest in content. You need a budget, or you need access to it. You have to have it. One of the little bits of insight again that I can give you is that we built quite a lot of content, and actually one or two things really worked quite well. So I don't think what we're talking about here is spending a lot of money on loads of content, or getting loads of people running off building, blogs, white papers, webinars, whatever. It's, you can build some really good content that will have the same effect, and you can actually focus your resources in those areas. We were building a new IT system. We were engaging with a supplier, and there was a LinkedIn group out there called, I think it was called Aggresso for Higher Education, which was the system we were using. On that group, there was an absolute, plethora of content about people who use that system, who were talking about it online. They were talking about their issues. They were talking about things that they could do better with it. If you go on those groups, you'll find the types of things that your competitors are talking about, your clients are talking about, and you'll know which content to produce. Use different formats and different types. We've got white papers, we've got webinars, but don't assume that your whole market wants the same thing, because they won't. We found white paper works very well for us when we provided that content in webinar format, not so well, which is interesting because you'd probably assume that was the other way around. But look at this area, don't make assumptions, and don't risk this. This is one thing, if you're running a B2B campaign and you haven't got it, you probably shouldn't run the campaign. I know that sounds quite harsh, but don't risk this area, because if you haven't got the content, it's probably not going to work. I'll skip through this quite quickly, but when you're generating leads, engage with your sales team and ask them what they're going to want before they contact that client. It sounds so basic, but the last thing you want is to generate all these leads, to pass them over to your sales team, and then they're just not engaged in the follow-up. They don't want to follow it up because you haven't provided the right information in the start. And it's as simple as, little things, other areas of segmentation. How quickly do they want to be called back? What's that person expecting? So if you're generating a lead, for example, and you're telling someone they're going to get called back in 24 hours, then they should get called back in 24 hours. But set that out from the start and engage your sales team in doing it. One of the things Nuz did quite a lot of was sitting down with our sales team and saying, this is what we're doing, this is when we're doing it, here's the plan. They all brought into it. I know it sounds like such a small step, but if you don't do that, the sales function of your business can make or break the success of your campaign, because lead generation is all very well, but if it doesn't convert to business or to new business, then it's a waste of time. So you could hit all of your targets, that you're set of generating 500 leads or whatever, but if none of them convert because your sales team aren't aligned or aren't engaged, your whole thing falls down. So, make sure you've sat down with them, make sure you've briefed them, make sure you tell them, what's going out and when. And, if you can engage them in the process of setting up that campaign in the first place, then even better. Before you kick off this campaign, make sure you've understood the legalities of what you're doing. I don't think, many marketers are experts in this area, but engage with your compliance department if you've got one, and if you haven't, there's a lot of information on Business Link, there's a lot of information on e-consultancy, but go on there and have a look at what the legalities of what you're doing are. A little example which we encountered was we were collecting a lot of information about when people were downloading white papers, what links they clicked on, what emails they received. It was all on our CRM system. And it'd be very easy for your sales team to ring up and would unknowingly talk about that information. And so you need to understand the legalities of things like that, because it's quite easy to get into trouble. Timeliness is an interesting one. You can see some kind of quite key times of year that I've highlighted there for us as a business. But before you kick off your lead generation, think about the key times that fit into your business and make sure you build your plans around them.